let's look at some La La Land. Why not? Why the hell not? Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no. Ah! It is Thursday. I had the worst sleep, so I apologize for anything that comes out. Let's just look at this rhythm. See if you can work it out without me doing the division. I know you guys already know the song. I'm sure you do. Bum, 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 bum. So it's like crochet 126. That's going to be our tempo. It's actually quite brisk. Jump, come, come, come. Our first set of quavers is going to be one and, bum, bum. And then our next group is going to be sakara, sakara, or se quaver, if you want to divide it. Semi-quaver, se quaver. Sata, so one and tikaram. This is my made-up language. Ba-ba-ba-ba-dum. Ba-ba-ba-ba-dum. Bum-bum-bum-ba-dum. Then the third beat, ba-dum-bum-bum. That's the beats 3-4. See the 16th rest? Da, 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 semi-quaver, semi-quaver, semi. So you get the accent on the mi, semi. And then the and of 3. So if I just had to think about the quavers for now, if I was just thinking about the quavers, ba, 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 da, ba, 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 and ba, ba. So 1 and 2 and 4 and. So that's a nice way to break down a rhythm. Just sort of think about the larger beats rather than thinking about all the little ones. Ba, 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 dum, bum, bum. So then I get bum, 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 be dum, bum, bum. This is an octave kind of melody. Flashback. You guys seen the film? It's all right. No, I mean, it's not many people did that. We're all bonded over that. We are all bonded. Good English. Visually, though, usually a film that I don't really enjoy, I enjoy for the visual aspects, such as the Oz film. What was it? Something to do with Oz. I don't know. Everyone's like, it's pretty bad. It's like, yeah, it's bad, but it's quite beautiful to watch. It was pretty. Yeah. Anyway. And this sort of interesting accompaniment happening here. That's really interesting getting the A flat and the B flat clashing like that. The B flat being in the bass. It's a bit random, to be honest. I agree with the A flat and B flat. I think that actually happens in the track, but this is a bit. I just don't know how I feel about that C minor with the -7 in the bass. It's just a strange time. As you can imagine, this is your classic. What's the rest of it? It's a very classic Broadway sound, kind of. It's attempting to be. It has the intentions of a classic Broadway sound, but it doesn't quite get there. Mainly because Broadway sound is not just to do with instrumentation or orchestration. It's not just to do with that. It's actually to do with like quite complex harmony and moving strings and romance and whereas a lot of people kind of just go, I'll put a marimba and a xylophone together and you'll get that sound. Anyway. Well, that's great. I'll put this. Yeah. And of course, they're doing the jazz thing, but they're not really doing the jazz thing. But, you know, we've got the A flat, 1, That's a major 2. As we might remember, our 2 is usually a minor, but what key am I in? Should ask myself that first. E flat. So the chord progression is based around the 4. Ding, ding, 5 dominant, ding, ding, 6, ding, 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 3. That's very similar to, or slightly similar, has elements of Dance Monkey. Sorry? Yeah. There's no tension. And I'll explain a little bit about that. It's interesting because, and I look at the composers being Pasek and Paul, which, you know, they're good at their contemporary thing, but they're not so great when it comes to actually writing of the style, of the casting back in time and actually writing authentically to the style, which is very frustrating. As we see, Greatest Showman, that, you know. All right, yeah. Again, I was like, I'm visually enjoying this. You know, I was like, okay, there's cool things happening. But the music is just not accurate of the time period. And that's a choice, but I also think it's a lazy choice. Because if a composer intentionally writes inauthentically to the time, then I expect them to have the skills to write authentically for the time. Whereas I know that composers like Pasek and Paul, and I am recording this, don't quite have them skills, which is this is just the product of globalization and modern times and everyone being able to write. It's just the way it works. It's just the way that cookie crumbles. But here we have the chord progression of Dance Monkey, but it's just been swapped around a little bit. So instead of 6, 4, 5, 3, it's 4, 5, 6, 3. And now it's jazz. And you got this cool arpeggio. It's a nice rhythm. Jump, dum, dum, da, dum, da, dum, dum, dum. You know, something you can groove to. So obviously they're ticking the box in that, in the sense that it's like, I can bop to this, I can dance to this, I can feel a sense of groove. And therein lies, like, you know, the emphasis that I put on rhythm, in the sense that rhythm is not always, interesting music is not always a matter of just adding more extra notes. You know, you can actually just alter the rhythm a little bit and instantly it becomes a bit more interesting. And then it's a motif, so in the sense that it's a repetitive rhythm that comes again. It's just the notes get altered. So they're just arpeggios. And then the progression changes a little bit. We get a minor 2. 5. This is interesting. What scale degrees are the melody? Is the melody spelling out in this bar? Even the first one. It's a tricky question I've thrown you guys. It's going to be relative to the key that I'm in when I'm thinking about the scale degrees. So the G. What scale degree is that in E flat major? Yeah. And then the E flat. C. Yeah, cool. So they're your building blocks for your E flat 6 chord. That's your E flat 6 chord. Which is a very nice open tone tonic chord. So if you're going to make anything a little bit more interesting, sometimes just adding a 6 to it can spice it up a little bit. This is a very common jazz progression. 2, 5, 1. Combined with that walking bass. And then the tempo as well, which is a bit more. It's fun. Like, actually, it was a big. I remember when it came out, I was quite obsessed with this song. It just makes you feel good. There's something about it, you know. I'll give it that. There's something that does make it feel quite sunshiny. Arranged by Daniele. Who's that? I also sang this for a Broadway Unplugged once. It's really weird and embarrassing. I was like, Gillian can sing the lady part, and I'll sing the guy part, and it'll be crazy. But I also couldn't play this fast and sing, so I was like, very bad. Yeah, so it's alluding to this like double time jazz. So we look at this C7. Now C7 is a 7 chord is a dominant chord. That's the type of chord. So it's a dominant 7 chord, but how it is functioning can be different. So every chord functions in a different way. Sometimes the chords can be non-functioning, and that's more in sort of your contemporary jazz. But usually in foundational 20s, 30s, 40s, like kind of classic jazz harmony, the chords they have a specific job. Whether they give you a sense of home base or they give you a sense of tension and movement. The 5 chord is going to want to pull to the 1 chord. And in this case, they put a C7. This C7 has a strong relationship to F. So the sort of general gist there is that if you're moving to a 1 chord, or a minor chord or a tonic chord, you could put the 5 before it and then create a bit of interest. This is really great for like pop tunes that just have 1 chord all the way through. If you put a 5 chord somewhere, maybe towards the end of the progression, maybe you can make it a little bit more interesting. So this is an F minor. Think about that day. 5. 5 wants to go down to 1. But then instead of going to my minor 6, I go to the C7, which is a dominant chord, which then resolves down to F minor. In the sense that I could go to E flat. I could go to C minor 7, but C minor 7 doesn't have the pull that I need to go to F minor. Because it doesn't have that E natural. Because that E natural is a leading tone to F. So the E natural in C7, as well as the tension that gets built between the E natural and the B flat, that's the tritone, they pull to the F. So the E natural actually is a leading tone, because the leading tone is the 7th. This is kind of going back to your high school theory, where the scale degrees actually have names. The 7 is traditionally referred to as the leading tone. I think it has another name as well. But we'll refer to it as a leading tone at the moment. And it's generally going to want to pull to the tonic. So that's why the G7 has a very strong pull to C. Because that B. So the major third in a dominant chord is going to want to resolve. Whereas if it was a C minor 7, has a flat third. And that doesn't have a stronger pull because of the semitone to an F minor. More importantly, just to throw you guys a lot of information this morning, I've got that E natural. Resolve, you know? I also have this guy. Oh. Whoop. And a whoop. A flat 9. in flat 9, okay, I have to think about what the 9 is first. So in the key of C, what's my 9? Yeah, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What's a flat 9? Correct. Look, in it, from purely theoretical perspective, it's a D flat, because it's a flat 9. But that starts to get into a dark area of enharmonics and what notes do you call what. Yeah. So the flat 9, semitone away from the 5th of F minor. So that further creates dissonance. So when I hear the C7, flat 9, the E natural and the D flat are going to pull to F minor. So you'll generally see a flat 9 before a minor chord. Why is that relevant? I don't know. It's fun. It's fun. It's good if you want to sort of work on improvisation as well. Or as we've been talking about, harmonies. For example, if I was harmonizing this tune, I wouldn't move the vocals too much. I'd probably just do a static F minor chord. That's the E natural. The melody is already going. Is doing that D flat. If I wanted to harmonize a little bit more, make it a bit more exciting, instead of like sweet and it was true, like just as opposed to just F minor chord. See how the F minor, when we harmonize, we're looking for our chord tones, okay? And our chord tones are the tones that exist in the chord shape or the chord symbol that's being specified. So in F minor 7, our chord tone is 1, flat 3, 5, and flat 7. Specifically, it's F, A flat, C, E flat. If you can find those chord tones, which we can. Hello? Hello? Come on. Apple Pencil. Correct. That is what you are. That's 1. That's another 1. That's a flat 3. And that's a 5. Does that make sense, guys? So they're the chord tones. They're in F minor 7. When you've got a chord tone, you can easily harmonize it with, oh, not a D. You can harmonize it with the chord. You just have to build the rest of the chord tones around it. So right now I'm putting a 5 under it and I'm putting a flat 3 under it. Okay, if I wanted to get super fancy, and this will be quite difficult for whoever's singing it, I could put the flat 7 in there as well. But there's going to be inherent clash. So they have to be very good. I can repeat that. Let's say I'm just doing 3-part harmony. And then, this is called closed harmony because I'm not leaving any spaces between the notes. I'm putting the chord tones as close as they can be. Okay, so that F minor on the word was, that's, as I said, flat 3. I've got the 1 and I've got the 5. Okay, any questions on that? Sort of like it comes into, say, where you want to start playing some jazz standards or like harmonizing with a chord or just learning how to, sing a certain part without overcomplicating it. But then I've got this E flat. The E flat is actually a chord tone. I've sort of undid my whole game here. E flat is a flat 7. The thing is, I don't generally like to harmonize flat sevens with the chord itself. I find that it gets a bit muddy. And the main reason is because, from my perspective, is that the melody goes sweet and it, sweet and it. If I just harmonize it with the F minor 7, I won't have any movement and actually want the vocals to move. It'll just become, which is kind of cute. It'd be a bit Andrew Sisters-ish. But I want sweet and it, sweet and it. Which is getting a bit more funky. So because the 1 and the 5 have an inherent relationship, I'm actually going to harmonize that E flat with a C minor chord. It goes so fast, no one will really notice it. But it means that the rest of the vocal parts get something a bit more interesting to sing. Except the middle part. The middle part just sings a C. Sorry about it. So already I've gone F minor, sweet and it, sweet and it, sweet and it, sweet and it, sweet and it. So I've got this bit of movement here. So it's not just about, say, for example, when we spoke about the other day about moving in thirds, it's actually I'm thinking about the chords that are being played. So there's a couple different things. You can just do F minor 7, sweet and it was true, sweet and it was true. You get this real kind of Andrew Sister sound. If you want something a bit more funky, a bit more soul. Then I'm actually going F minor, C minor, F minor. But the bass is still in an F, so it's just a variation or an F minor chord. Yep. The biggest relationship, the strongest relationship is that the F and the C are 5 notes away. If I harmonized it with a C major chord, the melody changes, so I can't make it a C major because I need an E flat in there. But basically, if you harmonize 1 and 5, between a minor 1 and a minor 5, you're generally going to get a pretty good sound. Slightly 80s sound, a little bit 80s. Then I'm going to look at this next phrase. I did what I had to do. These are all chord tones. B flat, 1. D is 3. F is 5. B flat is 1 again. Flat 7. Then this new guy, G. Now, if you were just thinking about the B flat 7, you'd be like, the G doesn't belong there. But the G is anticipating the next bar. So if you're harmonizing it, again, if I was harmonizing it, I just use chord tones. If I wanted complete movement, if I wanted every vocal part to move, I would harmonize it with I, a B flat chord. Harmonizing flat 7 is really weird because I can harmonize a major triad. Here, I'm going to use that minor, that 5 principle. So B flat, 5 notes away from B flat is F, and I'm going to, in order for me to make it a proper F, it needs to be an F minor because that A flat is in an F minor chord. I did what I had. F minor is okay to go on top of a B flat 7, mainly because I just say so, but it can. It's a happy time. It's not a problem. Otherwise, the rest of the vocal parts won't move if you just want to harmonize it to a B flat 7, which is not a problem. But you get this weird diminished shape. And I try to avoid, when I'm doing like pop, soul, open stuff, I try to avoid harmonizing vocals in diminished chords unless it's really specifically of the shape. But when I'm in a dominant 7 chord, I try not to draw too much attention to the diminished shape within a dominant 7, because a dominant 7 will have a diminished chord inside of it. That's the 3rd, the 5, and the flat 7. That's the diminished chord. I try not to make it too on the nose, because it's a very harsh sound, and it's also, it's a naive sound, and that's an odd way of explaining it, but there's much nicer, cooler ways you can harmonize it. So maybe I go, I'll put on my do setting. That's my B flat, F minor, and then do is an E flat chord. That's the anticipation into the next bar. So I'd harmonize that with an E flat rather than thinking about it as B flat. More importantly, as I could see, I can add a 6 to an E flat chord and it could still be a 6. So maybe I'll go. So the bottom harmony is going. Is that a bit wild? Does that make sense? That 6 scale degree instantly makes something more 20s, 30s, Andrew Sisters. Rather than that's very just plain as day. Not a problem. It's a terrible melody. It's just not very singable. And of course, the alternative is static notes. Static notes are very powerful when you just want to draw attention to the rhythm, you know? I did what I had to do. I did what I had to do. You know, rather than I did what I had to do. You know? I did what I had to do. Because you got to move the shape to get that E flat. What note am I singing? B flat. Notice how B flat is in the B flat 7 chord, obviously. There she is. I did what I had to do. B flat becomes a 5th scale degree B flat. Still fits. Because B flat is still in the C7. So good part writing. When I start, if I'm harmonizing that, I'll just be like, you know what? I'm just going to put someone all in a B flat for the whole thing. And then the next step will be, actually, do I want a bit of movement? Okay, so I've spelt out the chord tones. I'd be happy with that. You know, it's a boring part to sing, but it's nice and simple. They don't have to worry too much. Maybe I want to make it a bit more interesting. I did what I had to do, 'cause I just knew. Yeah, that's lame. We try not to harmonize the root note. Although I'm doing it in the B flat, so that's a bit lame. It's a bit boring. Most jazz pieces, most 20s, like Tin Pan Alley stuff, if you go through their songs, the tendency is that the melody will actually not be in the root note. Sorry. The root note of the chord will generally not be in the melody as well. And I'll just show you a quick example as we wrap up. So if you're ever harmonizing a piece, if you can avoid putting the root note in the bass and the melody, you have something a bit more interesting. This is all just basic part writing as well. So this is Blame It On My Youth. Root note first, on the word first. All right. For me, if I'm playing it, you know what? I'm going to go... I expected love when I'm actually going to change the bass note by inverting the C minor 7. At that point, it becomes more of an E flat chord, but we won't get into that. The C minor 7 and E flat 6 have the same notes. E flat 6 and C minor 7. It's just the relationship between the chord that came before it that makes it sound more like a minor chord. Now that's my choice though. I'm just going to alter the bass note so that the melody becomes more interesting. Or alternatively, I'll leave the piano accompaniment for that note. So it might go, if I expected love when... You know how the bass goes first. So the bass actually offsets the beat a little bit rather than going when they're going to go first. Just a little example of changing the rhythm in order to offset the harmony. But my main point is that usually the melodies in these tunes are harmonized on the chord tones that are not the 1 and the 5. So the first note is a G. That's the 3. The next one is the flat 3 on the F minor. The next one is the flat 3 on G minor. The next one's the root note, but ignore that. Flat 3, that's the root note too. Look. And then the next one, flat 3. 5, 3. Flat 3. Flat 3. That's like a 13. Then the next one is a 3 in A flat. This is a weird one because half diminished chords are always a bit strange. Either way, it's a flat 5 in D minor 7, flat 5. Then 5, 3, 3, 5, 5, 1. Now that's boring to me. So 3, 3, 5, 5. Or try alter the bass note in some way, shape or form, just to make it a bit more interesting. And you can alter the bass note with any of the chord tones, but there's also more you can do as well. All right. We did some wild stuff today. Any questions before we head off? Why? Why you torture us? Yay! Good. Good. We'll spend a bit more time in some future lessons. I want to talk about this concept of like harmonizing the melody with all triads. And then we get absolutely into like gospel music and like Lion King and all just really cool part writing. All right, thanks guys. I'll send you through that music, Olivia. Of course, if you don't hear from me, just yell into the void. You know how it works with me. Thanks guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.